Welcome back, Armchair Generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3. Now, we have a few people that have been strongly advocating that I build some carriers. And one of the thoughts was to buy a production license from Japan to get a high-quality Japanese carrier. But I was just, before starting the recording, I was just looking through here, and I don't see an option to production license a carrier. Bunch of other unit types that could be useful, but no carriers. I guess maybe true. You got the heavy cruiser, but don't have battleships or carriers. Maybe they're not licensable. So, I would like your feedback. I know at least one person is going to say, start building anyways, but should we start production on a carrier now with 1935 technologies, or should we try to build one, or pump through some of these first? Let's just pop it up to here to see. It would be February 42. That's sort of late. Well, that's not that far off. To start production then. So, would like to hear your thoughts on that. Okay. Now, we're still working these transports out here. These are important but not critical. We got others. We lose them. I didn't want to lose my entire proper fighting strength wherever it is. Here. Against a big death stack of British capabilities. So they're moving up here to eventually join up with at least some of these liners for transport duties, or escorting of the transports. So we are continuing our rampage across southern Arabia. And we're doing a little well otherwise. Got a lot of stuff producing. Wait for night, at least to start. Yes, global military powers, in fact. Decryption machine is advanced. These are so slow that they haven't even gotten out of the port yet. It's already daylight. So I don't even know if that's why I abandoned them initially. I've also, as you see, a bunch of units crawling across here. Sent a bunch of the forces that I had here on, occupation duty. Sending them to the east to get prepared. Yeah, might as well just keep these guys moving here. So you here and back to port. We're going to set up another production column, or supply convoy. Apollo 280. Even though that's the supply point, we may be stressing the level of supply capability. They're going to win handily. I just have the 2 motor torpedo boats in case it runs into some submarines or something. One thing I really think here that should be a tech, and maybe I should point this out on the forum, is a little bit of air defense and definitely some air attack type use, because if you look at a lot of, you can see here, you look at a lot of vessels at the time that were, whether they were ocean liners or smaller stuff, they put a lot of anti-aircraft guns on them, you know, often light stuff. So I wouldn't put techs equaling in a heavy anti-aircraft guns, but I'd go with something. This fight is taking. What is Sony? Yeah, crude oil we put. Rom will take care of this, because once that battle's over, he's going to race on faster. These guys somewhere over here. Now we have a the 2 divisions they can support. Remember the event to build air bases to support our weak Vichy allies down here? Gonna come in handy now. We built that a long time ago, but it's still gonna come in handy. Not a great air base, but it's something. Okay. Great, so they've got rid of the People's Republic of China. That's very good to hear. Okay, and they've also captured the peninsula. That'll free up a lot of troops. A lot of the troops that are bogged down fighting the People's Republic will also be free to advance against China. For some reason, the Chinese are pulling out a lot of their units here. Don't know if that is the Orville is. Well, that's doing all right here. Yeah, I don't know if it's ship forces somewhere else or don't want to be trapped, I don't know. Okay, yes, we'll take another flotilla of submarines. It'll cost us, I'm sure. Yeah, it does. That is why I build so many supplies. I think it. Where did it show up? Oh, it built it down here. Cool. And unfortunately, we don't have any air vessels. Now, another thing we also need to do is move our reconnaissance. Commando Rowell? Balwell? Light bombers as reconnaissance aircraft. But I don't want to drop them where I'm going to drop them if it's going to be a slaughter. I think this port is in the Western Mediterranean, so what I should be doing, I haven't been, I'm just thinking about this now. Let's park these guys right here, just a move order, because they're going to blockade for supplies. See, we're getting there with our forces. These guys are still coming. Just additional stuff. These are a lot of forces we will be needing on the Eastern Front. Since we're not going there now, it's alright. Go to the port. Tank destroyers have advanced, that's nice. A lot of different text to improve. Blue. Money for crude? Sure. More money for crude? No. Okay, assault concentrations have advanced. Where's my transport? Figure 4T, is it here? Not that one. Figure 4T. Okay. We no longer need to be doing that. It's flying. Well, they're still in good shape. Not taking any significant losses. No. See, there's a weak garrison force down there. Hoping these guys have made it down here and have enough. We're going to fly some air superiority over. Sure, we'll give them some fuel for now. Okay, it looks like we're completely free and clear, and I'm actually surprised by that. I was expecting to have somebody garrisoning down here, but maybe this is becoming too much of a fight. So, we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to assault right over them. Now this is Dar es Salaam, which we just took very easily. Basically the functional capital of Tanganyika. And I'm sure you're familiar with the mod title. Or you should be. Yeah. Well, let's make sure we got. We need some more transports. That flavor for? Shouldn't be in this instance. I don't know why that came up. Made their airborne drop. That's them. That's them. Yeah, I know this is your thing. Don't want to risk it. I'm going to delay. Now, these guys, they're still coming. These guys are waiting for fuel. The Spanish here. Got some bombers in range. Well, unload that. Now we'll have to wait for reorganization gain. But the fighter pilot training has advanced. That's nice. Let's improve the reception tactics. These are the guys I want. Okay. They're not going to be currently used for invasion, they're going to be used for transport, so hopefully these will be able to carry it. They'll be the faster unit. That's alright, so I want him for the moment. I'm going to rebase it to here. Now I'm hoping that Big Death Stack is not here. The British have held out here. Not worried about them holding out here, and if we take Gibraltar. Now, of course, if we cut supplies, that means they get weaker and weaker and weaker. Now, mentioning supplies, we also need to do this. Going to be a long supply convoy anyways. Let's move it here to there. So you see, we're now branching out into the Indian Ocean. Pushing in until the proper reinforcements arrive. Okay, look for a little more reorganization gain. We're gonna have to wait for this heavy transports, I guess. Thought I'd be able to get them with these transport, but it's too far out. They've shortened the ranges or something, I'm not sure what exactly. Okay, well, that's why I built them. Disembark and move the transports somewhere else. Not those we want there. Okay, Mountain HQ research has advanced. I did want that. Switch one Marine. Special Forces advance. Yeah, let's go. It'll probably be the cheapest one to research. These light infantry divisions are going to be sent down here. Oh, combat's broken out. Sort of the danger is some of these you gotta pay attention. You don't want to bring in too large of a force because you see the, it's only a level 4 port, low infrastructure levels. Especially if you start getting anywhere out of there. I have corrected the way they were originally in the game. There's a railroad that runs from here up to here, so I increased the infrastructure levels considerably here. So, just that's not BlackICE's problem, that's a problem with Hearts of Iron 3. Alright, let's see. We've got them surrounded. We're here. We're going to start our assault on Gibraltar. I think it's going to be costly. I'm not even sure that it's going to succeed. I've not rebuilt these units, as you can see, into specialized fortress busting divisions. I'm happy to build, and I actually am happy to build a few specialized divisions because they did that. They did, in the de facto way. I mean, the Siegfried type gun wasn't actually part of anybody's division or anything. But, you know, you can't just have all these things entirely independent. So let's see what we can do. Glad von Manstein is trying to seize the fortress by starting. And I'll carry all 3 of the battalions. Seaport capabilities have advanced. That's good. So all we need now is the airport. Not that improving these don't help, they do. Oh, we got a bunch of... Yeah, we should have hit that a while ago. We'll get 1 army and 2 group. Gebirgsjägers. Trying to get the German right. The 9th Flotilla. Command Brest. Wish they would start them out as like a 3 or 4% just in case the Allies are bombing. So we've got lots and lots of... What's that there? Gotta keep paying attention to these things. Okay. We now have seaport level 5, which helps. And the Tanganyika event. It will... Okay, General von Letter-Vorbeck. He was this guy here. He commanded the German colonial forces, made up primarily of Africans. They were the Askaris, and they were actually very well paid for Askaris during the time period, so that they were rather loyal to the Germans, because as much as they knew of the other colonial Askaris, they were treated a little bit better. Maybe, I'm not sure about this, a little harsher discipline, you know, marching and drilling and shooting, but they were paid fairly well. That kind of thing. I don't know that their punishments are any harsher than normal. And so this is a World War II picture of him in his sort of colonial uniform. I forget which German general that was. He was, in actual fact, he was offered sometime after 1933, I forget when, offered to become the ambassador to Britain, and he basically said, hell no, or worse than that to it. Because he knew it wouldn't go over terribly well with the British. And he wasn't a Nazi, to the best of my understanding. He did not like Hitler, did not like the Hitler regime. But he was very popular. There was almost nothing they could do to him. So once the war broke out, they gave him a staff job in Berlin, in charge of something that was basically a meaningless nothing of a job. Just to sort of say that he's employed, he's there, and it's press, that kind of thing. So this is just one of his meetings that he did tour around and meet with some of the other more active commanders. Now, he wasn't really any older than much of his contemporaries. Maybe a little bit, but not by much. So he was still very much active and still very much in the health range to see active service in World War II. I included him in this because I thought that had Germany taken parts of Africa back, and because basically the SS stayed out of the North African campaign, and there's several reasons of it, maybe partly because it was an Italian show and things like this, but I think it was mainly ideological, that they just weren't interested in Africa. They were interested in lands in the East, and that's where Himmler wanted to go. And so it just never really became an SS, particularly Waffen-SS type field. So if he thought that by taking this command he would get away from the Nazis, if you will, and get down and run the show down here, he might have taken it. That is just speculation on my part, but it's based on the stuff that I've read and thought. So this is going to give me one minor headache here, but we're going to take this, and as you can see right now they're all British corps, and they're now German corps as well. We don't remove the British. And we have this. Now von Hippel just guesses the headache I was talking about. He just got removed from operations that I was having him do over here. So now we have a division without a commander. And not the best solution. I think we'll wait the 19 hours, withdraw them from combat, assign a new commander, let it organize up, and send it back in. So Vorbeck is now in charge. Got von Hippel running the colonial light infantry units, and that's a mistake, and I'm going to have to correct. Oh, that's because they changed the unit types. Okay, so I'll change that for the mod, because that's supposed to be had been what has become railway guns, but they've changed it because should be saying captured British naval guns. No, I forget which cruiser it was. Maybe the Blucher. I don't know. One of the German cruisers that was in the area during World War I was damaged, and the Germans moved it into one of the little river outlets around here. Basically stripped it of its guns, and turned its guns into, you know, field pieces, impromptu field pieces. So they used the relatively heavy artillery. In, you know, as you can see, it's not all jungle, but you know, mountains. These are considered jungles. These are what, plains, but you know, it's all in African areas. They used the thing, so I thought, based on that, with taking whether conventional means, you know, driving across North Africa with Italy, or like I tend to do, is drop paratroop landings into Egypt here. There was a British Rodney, I don't know, one of the British battleships was sunk by the Italian commandos that swam in and did limpet charges. They sunk the battleship. The Italians didn't know it because it had like 6 or 8 feet at low tide clearance below, so the ship just went down 6 feet and sat on the bottom and just sat there. The British kept the pretense up that it would still operate. I mean, they could shoot its guns, it just couldn't move. It was sitting on the bottom of the harbor. And instead of trying to repair it, because that would become initially rather obvious that they were repairing it and it was damaged, they just let it there and tried to make everyone think that it was ready to sail at a moment's notice. Well, that and several other things, I figured that there would be, in some of these ports along here, wherever, British naval vessels that, or down here somewhere, British naval vessels that would be in port, whether it's a paratroop raid or a more conventional raid, would happen. And they couldn't get the vessels out, and they would scuttle them. Well, I'm figuring the Germans could recover ammunition, and because they'd also be storing ammunition around here, and they might not want to blow it up because it could be a little too close to some of the civilian areas. Get the ammunition, get recovered naval guns, and so that's sort of why this unit is supposed to be here with a coastal defense artillery set up here for garrison purposes. And you can see it's a why isn't it? That's weird. Well, not let me click on it. But one of the units is colonial militia, the Rugga Rugga. Those were the type of troops, basically spear carriers, World War I type militia raised, and the colonial garrison unit, that's meant to be mostly Germans that fled back in, but older men that are just, you know, going to be administrators and whatnot. But if the port is attacked, would obviously come to the operations of it. Okay, I guess we're going to end this episode here. Be continuing with a new one very shortly.